Well, there we are, listeners. Did you get that? Tell us what it is.
That was one of my favourite pieces of classical music in the world. It is Night on the Bare Mountain by Modest Mussorgsky. Anyone might remember that particular tune from their childhood as being part of Walt Disney's Fantasia. That was my first exposure to it.
Yes.
But it's been, I feel it's appropriate to start with something that sort of dates me back in my younger days while we're on the subject of how I was trained, and that piece of music seemed just to tick it.
So you played this yourself?
I did. When I was in that orchestra I referred to earlier, we did actually do that particular piece at one particular concert.
Wow. So, talking about who else have you played with over the years?
Over the years, I've played in a variety of ones. I mean, when I was still learning the cello, I attended a few master classes with William Bruce, who was quite a renowned cellist. In recent years, I was actually a double bass player for an ambient soul band with the Harrison Walk Experience, and that was my most recent musical experience with that particular instrument. And that was actually sometime in the summer just gone at the Leather Bottle in Earlsfield.
Fantastic. What about other places in the area that you know, musical places in Wandsworth?
In Wandsworth, as far as playing music goes, I've sort of kept them down low. However, I know of the Bedford in Balham.
Oh, I know the Bedford very well.
They do have
huge pub.
I know, great pub and a brilliant venue. I've actually attended a couple of pagan festivals there.
Well, funnily enough, now you are really preempting, because I actually went to the last pagan festival.
Yeah.
I went along. They have a gigantic range of musicians appearing, don't they?
They do. They've got everything from sort of Celtic folk sort of duets. There was really quite. There's one particular band who played there, who's a bit of one of my favourites and my other half actually. Incubus Succubus.
Oh yes, very famous.
They are a sort of a pagan gothic rock band, and they've played there a couple of times now, and they've always done a great set. And the last one, which was around Halloween, was no exception.
Well, I actually spoke to some of the organisers of that pagan festival, and let me tell you, it's not just for pagans. It's for music lovers. It's for people who just love having a good time. And I asked them if they'd come onto the show and talk about their next festival, which will probably be the spring equinox, I'm guessing.
Will be Balostra.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm going to have them in the next few weeks coming onto the show and talking about the next festival, which will be again at the Bedford, which is a huge pub. It's a great location to have a music festival. So tell me about some of your other musical influences.
Coming to the musical influences, moving on from classical, when I was sort of 12, 13, that's when the sort of stuff I tend to listen to changed dramatically in a way which might surprise some, but probably won't surprise some others. I actually got into a lot of hard rock and heavy metal, and I've sort of carried on since then.
I just love this, from classical to hard rock and heavy metal.
And then in the sort of mid-teens onwards, I started listening to more kind of alternative stuff. I listened to a bit of gothic rock as well, which I'm still listening to. These things I picked up in my teenage years, which obviously it's sort of moulded over the time the specific bands I listened to, but at the same time it's I've stuck with it and I've been enjoying it ever since.
Well, I'm just going to not warn, but just mention to the listeners that yes, there will be a variety of pieces of music coming up, and I think it's time for your second piece of music, which beautifully illustrates the change from classical to other types.